Airlines Flight 123. It's late summer, and millions are traveling home for a traditional Japanese holiday, returning to their place of birth for family reunions. The bathroom before the seatbelt light is turned off.
Careful, please.
An ordinary request on a routine day.
Something exploded.
Air is rushing out of the cabin. The oxygen masks drop down automatically when the air pressure falls. The explosion, the sudden loss of pressure in the cabin. There must be a hole in the aircraft.
Gear door. Check gear. Gear. What? Check gear. Gear.
The pilot's first thought is that the landing gear doors have blown off.
Squawk 77.
7700 is the emergency code. When the crew radios this code to the ground, air traffic control will know the plane is in trouble. Every plane on the controller's screen carries a label giving the plane's identity. Suddenly, the label beneath Flight 123 changes. Someone in the cockpit has keyed in the emergency signal. The plane's crew members are baffled. They know only that there's been a loud noise, some sort of explosion, a subsequent drop in cabin pressure, and a growing loss of control. Yet their instruments offer no clues to the mystery.
Engines. All engines okay.
Ominously, the pilots can't get the plane to respond.
It's dropping. Right turn. Right turn. Hydraulic pressure. It's dropping.
The plane's flight controls are powered by hydraulic pressure. The elevator, which makes the plane go up and down, the rudder and ailerons, which make it turn. On a big modern jet, all these are too heavy to operate with cables and levers. Instead, they're controlled by hydraulic fluid, which flows in pipes around the aircraft. It's the lifeblood of the plane.
Tokyo, Japan Air 123, request immediate
Trouble. Request return back to Haneda. Mover.
Roger, approved as you request. Turn right heading 090.
What's the last one, security? Put the bend around your head like this.
Don't bang so much. Yes.
Crew members, please, help out with the oxygen bottles. Repair the oxygen bottles, please.
Don't bang so much. Turn it back. It won't go back.
Nothing seems to be working. All the controls are dead. They're 7,300 meters up in the air, traveling at nearly 540 kilometers an hour, and unable to control the plane.
Turn right. Descend.
In the growing uncertainty of the situation, the pilots know they need to get down fast.
Descending.
The controller is puzzled. Instead of making the anticipated 180-degree turn back to the airport, the plane now veers off its course, but not towards Haneda.
No, 123. Negative. Please confirm that you are declaring emergency. That's right?
That's affirmative.
Request the nature of your emergency.
Hydraulic pressure on loss.
Are lost.
No. Look.
Are lost.
Yes. The company. Please make a request to the company, please. You want to make a fuss?
The crew seem paralyzed and don't radio the airline or answer the tower. The officials on the ground don't know that the plane has lost its hydraulic power, but their screens tell them it's flying erratically and is possibly out of control.
Right turn. Descend.
Look at his altitude. Up and down, up and down.
But now, on control. Put your heart into it or it's stop.
The hydraulics failure has caused a serious problem. For the last few minutes, the plane has begun flying in an alarming pattern. First, it climbs steeply, then tips over and goes into a terrifying dive of 1,200 meters, only to level off and begin to climb again. This repeats itself over and over again. The pilots cannot understand this bizarre behavior, and they are powerless to stop it. Tokyo Area Control, August the 12th, 1985. The controller receives an emergency signal from a jumbo jet that left Haneda Airport 13 minutes ago.
Tokyo, Japan Air 123, request immediate.
Trouble. Request return back to Haneda. Over.
Put the oxygen mask on.
In the cabin, confusion and panic spread like wildfire. There's been an explosion, and now some passengers are gasping for air.
Seatbelt! Seatbelt, please!
Hydraulic pressure has dropped.
The plane's precious hydraulic fluid is gone. That's why the flight controls aren't working properly.
Don't bang so much. Turn it back. It won't go back.
Airline personnel are trained to take charge in a crisis, and passenger Yumi Ochiai helps out even though off duty.
Children!
At Tokyo Control, the controller is now joined by his supervisor.
JAL 123, he's declared an emergency. Says it's uncontrollable. He says he wants to go back to Haneda, but his heading is all wrong. He can't seem to turn.
Get to Nagoya. That'll be the easiest. It's a straight line.
The best solution would be for the plane to switch course to Nagoya Airport, which is 128 kilometers straight ahead. But they'd need to start descending immediately if they're going to land there.
Right, your position 72 miles to Nagoya. Can you land at Nagoya?
Negative. Request back to Haneda.
It's the wrong runway.
The captain wants to try to get back to Haneda. It's a large airport and ideally suited for a jumbo 747 in an emergency. But it's in the opposite direction.
If he can get it down. 123, can you descend?
Roger.
But the black boxes are finding it difficult to breathe. The black box shows that he doesn't descend. Without control of the aircraft, they can't. In the thin atmosphere at this altitude, the passengers are finding it difficult to breathe. People without oxygen masks may soon become unconscious. The situation worsens as some of the masks at the back of the plane run out of oxygen. It's been 5 minutes since the explosion, and a flight attendant is finally able to call the cockpit with news about what's happened to the plane.
Crew
Yes, what is it?
The flight attendant tells the engineer that the explosion has occurred in the rear of the plane and may have come from the baggage compartment.
So,
There's a baggage compartment furthest to the rear.
listen, right now the baggage compartment right at the back has collapsed. I think we'd better descend.
They need to get down quickly before the passengers become unconscious. But the captain seems to be struck by a strange paralysis.
All the passengers are using their masks. Shall we descend a little?
The captain does not reply. It's possible that by now he and his crew are suffering from hypoxia, or lack of oxygen to the brain.
The R5 pet?
At this altitude, the oxygen in their blood starts to fall. First, their judgment may become impaired. Eventually, they may lose consciousness.
The R5 pet? Yes, I understand. Captain, the R5 masks have stopped!
At the R5 door, the situation is becoming critical. The oxygen supply has failed. The cabin crew have to give the passengers whiffs of oxygen from a gas bottle. Still, the captain and his crew seem to be drowning in confusion.
I think we better make an emergency descent. Yes. Shall we use our mask too? We better. I think we better use the oxygen mask. Yes.
But they don't put on their masks. No one knows why. It might be indecision or hypoxia beginning to cloud their judgment. At Japan Airlines in Tokyo, flight operations have been alerted to the emergency, but are as mystified as everyone else on and come up with a
You'll get in a little while.
that could, if the door hit the be powerless to us. Japanese base at Europe are preoccupied and don't respond. At least they hive and brings the nose, the opposite of what a person brings the nose up. And If they pull back the throttles when it's climbing, slowing the engines, the nose tips and begins to dive. These actions are the opposite of what a pilot would normally do, but it seems to work, and they begin to flatten out the mad roller coaster ride. Then a second experiment. By applying more thrust to the engines on the left side of the aircraft, they manage to slowly turn the plane right, in the general direction of Tokyo. But then their luck runs out. In the frantic juggling of throttles, the pilots get out of step. It drives the 747 into a frenzy.
Both hands. How about gear down? Gear down! Should put the gear down.
Lowering the landing gear separate from the hydraulic. Lowering the landing gear helps stabilize the plane out of the aircraft. Dive.
We are all the way. All the way.
Normal rate of descent.
Gears down. And air.
Suddenly, the plane comes out of its dive. They've dropped over 3,000 meters. They're now in amongst towering mountains, but at least there's more oxygen at this altitude. The pilots have been fighting the plane for an intense 22 minutes since the explosion.
This may be hopeless. The hydraulic fluid is all gone. It's uncontrollable. Hey, mountain! No! The ring! Yes! Ring! 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 Good eat the mountain! Back far!
Applying maximum power in order to lift the nose is their only option.
We're gonna hit it! Right! 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 Power! Power!
More speed and more lift.
The other dude!
Many of them prepare for the end. But increasing futile procedure. Traffic controllers at our airbase.
One
And mistakes the
on our radar.
Yes! Watch! Climb up!
500 meters a minute.
Raise the nose! Climb up! Climb up! Climb up! Lift up! Raise the nose! Raise the nose! Raise the nose!
Japan Air 123.
And Air 123.
Into the drama, even guide, they were ordered to return delays. A helicopter flown by Captain Isuzu Omori finds the crash site. The pilot radios in.
Minio Kayama, Victor 107. I see something. I see flames in about 10 spots over an area of about 300 meters square. Victor 107, Minio Kayama. Is there any sign of survivors? Victor 107, no signs of survivors. Visibility poor. Too much smoke. Victor 107, can you land to investigate? Not a chance. It's a 45-degree slope down there. Nowhere to put down. And there's fire everywhere.
Seeing no sign of survivors and unwilling to risk a landing at night, Captain Omori returns to base. Meanwhile, a team of rescuers is on its way. 3 lie dying. At the crash site, the passengers of Flight 123 lie dying. Of Mount Fuji. The plane from the steep side of the mountain at the scene. Their shocked to find a survivor.